This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, September 12th. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Topping the news, a fix is on the way for the island's garbage woes. Today, Minister of the Environment, Trevor Prescott, announced that 7 garbage trucks are set to arrive in the island next month. He made the disclosure on the sidelines of an awards ceremony hosted by his ministry to mark World Ozone Day.
How many trucks are we talking about?
That we were bringing in 15.
Right, and you said
seven should be in sometime next month. We're also going to be bringing in a D9 compactor tractor as well. That will be equivalent to the one that you now see at Mangrove, which is that was the controversial one where the General Republic was talking about how much money we were paying for that equipment, but we had no alternative in the circumstances.
Meanwhile, a national cleanup campaign aimed at beautifying Barbados will start this weekend in Britain's Hill, St. Michael. Minister of Transport, Public Works and Maintenance, Dr. William Duguid, told Barbados Today the large community was chosen in light of complaints from residents about unsanitary conditions.
We are hoping eventually for it to be a national cleanup program, but we've selected this area to be able to start, and it's not only the Bonnets area but the whole Britain's Hill area. So that would include the areas like Reese Road and London Road and all those areas, Gunsight Road, Tates Road, Rollins Road. Because it's not one constituency, but bringing the whole of a community of Britain's Hill. Because we recognize that the cleanliness of the country, and particularly of these particular areas, is so important. We have a problem with rodents and rodent infestation in certain areas, and we need to get these areas cleaned up. And we've been encouraging people from the private sector to come and get involved with us and donate their services and their equipment to help us with the cleanup program.
Meanwhile, Minister Duguid reported that Barbadians have been responding to calls to clean up the nation's highways. Last week, he ordered that cars being advertised for sale parked on the highway must be removed. Dr. Duguid says the situation has significantly improved.
And I'm also very happy that now, after making that statement that we were prepared to pick up those cars and then you have to pay to be able to access them again, that I'm now not seeing any of those cars on the highway, and I would encourage people to keep it that way, because if at any time we see a regression and people putting cars back on the highway, we will be picking those cars up.
Barbadians need not fear any fuel shortage. That's the assurance from Energy Minister Wilfred Abrams, as the government today outlined its action plan in the wake of the closure of Trinidad and Tobago's Petrotrine refinery. Barbados has been exporting 260,000 barrels of crude to Petrotrine annually and importing 60,000 barrels of gasoline on a monthly basis. The Ministry of Energy says as of today, the BNOCL has over 53,000 barrels of gasoline in stock, which is enough for 25 days, and another shipment of 30,000 barrels is expected this weekend, which will provide for 38 days. In the meantime, Abrams says his ministry has already begun discussions with a number of suppliers to formulate a similar arrangement to ensure the island always has a consistent supply of gasoline at an affordable price. In other news, this Thursday, bumper arrivals for the first 7 months of the year, but visitor spend is not on par. Chief Executive Officer of the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Rudy Grant, delivered the news today as he addressed the association's third quarterly general meeting at the Hilton Resort. Grant disclosed that between January and July, Barbados welcomed a total of 413,616 visitors, representing a 3% increase over the 401,710 visitors during the same period last year. The UK remains the island's largest source market, but the biggest increase in visitor arrivals for the period came from the US, which increased by 7.5%. Visitor arrivals from the UK increased by 3.2%, while Canada recorded an expansion of 2.8%. While Grant is pleased with the performance, he's concerned about visitors' spend.
As it relates to visitor arrivals, there's generally an upward trend. One of the areas that must be focused on relates to the actual spend, because comments would have been made certainly with respect to the fact that the increasing numbers are not being reflected with regard to increasing revenues, and therefore it is important that we are able, in collaboration with our partners, through the enhancing of our product, through innovative thinking, to be able to facilitate visitor spend.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
BIT's Central Bank Meets Blockchain Conference is the only conference in the world that brings together regulators, governments, and private entities to discuss how they might work together using blockchain to make a positive impact on the lives of the people in the Caribbean.
We are so proud to host this forum, which allows for constructive dialogue and engagement because it recognizes the transformative potential of distributed ledger technology and the work that BIT is doing in the region.
Blockchain technology has the power to address the demand for easier and real-time KYC solutions while improving overall KYC standards. With the advent of digital currency, these AML solutions can strengthen compliance like never before.
We have an excellent lineup of speakers, including our keynote speaker, the Honorable Mia Mottley, Prime Minister of Barbados, the Honorable Alden McLaughlin, Premier of the Cayman Islands, Dr. Jack Meaning, economist from the Bank of England, Therese Turner-Jones, the General Manager for the Caribbean Division of the IDB, and many more noteworthy speakers who you don't want to miss.
The Inter-American Development Bank supports this event and is our platinum sponsor. We're so grateful to them for their support and acknowledgement of our work.
We hope you can join us on September the 18th, 2018 at the Hilton Barbados Resort to hear what leaders in the region and in the blockchain space have to say about the role of blockchain technology in promoting social inclusion, financial empowerment, and economic growth for this and future generations. See you there.
To regional news, Trinidad and Tobago's United National Congress has tabled a 24-month plan to restructure Petrotrin's operations to finance its debts. Party leader Kamla Persad-Bissessar insists the government should rethink its decision to close the refinery and says her plan entails major sacrifices on the part of workers.
Mrs. Persad-Bissessar believes there are ways to clear the company's debt, save the refinery, and with it keep thousands of people employed. However, in part, it would require compromise and sacrifice from workers, suggesting to them it would be better to have a reduced income than no job.
You have to stand up, man up, and accept some responsibility to save your jobs. Malcolm Jones and a cabinet which Rowley was a part of caused this collapse. But you and we and all of us have to fix it. It will entail a major sacrifice, but it's better to have some income than none at all.
She told Petrotrin employees they cannot expect the rest of the country, who are also suffering under the current administration, to bail them out.
I am told that it costs $300 to inspect a vehicle in the government licensing office, but it costs $4,000 by some inspectors in Petrotrin. Okay? Secondly, I'm told it takes half a day sometimes before anyone can start working to get in to start work. Thirdly, massive overcharging for goods and services.
The UNC is proposing a 2-year plan with measures such as sourcing of cheaper crude supplies for operation, sourcing higher market price for our crude, the curtailment of overtime.
And further afield, fears about Hurricane Florence spread south today, with Georgia declaring a state of emergency after officials in the Carolinas urged people to evacuate the coast ahead of the storm's expected pounding winds and rain-driven floods. Florence weakened slightly to a Category 3 storm with maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour. The system is likely to strike the southern coast of North Carolina by late Thursday or early Friday. We get the details in this Reuters television report.
This is not going to be a glancing blow. This is going to be you know, a Mike Tyson punch to the Carolina coast.
That punch by Hurricane Florence expected to bring devastating winds, days of rain, and potentially deadly flooding when the storm slams into the Carolinas later this week.
North Carolina, my message is clear. Disaster is at the doorstep and is coming in.
The governor of North Carolina Wednesday warning the time to prepare is almost over.
This morning's forecast shows the storm is only hours away.
It's expected to stall once it hits land and then shift south. Since Monday, more than 1 million people have been ordered to evacuate the coastal areas in the Carolinas and Virginia. Officials in Wilmington, North Carolina, telling residents they won't attempt to rescue anyone once wind speeds exceed 50 miles per hour.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and Bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.